Greetings, welcome or welcome back, depending on your status. I hope you are enjoying all of the videos I'm publishing about Fallen Empire. And in this short one, we're going to briefly take a quick and simple look at the user interface changes and the layout changes. We begin with the most obvious one. The level is displayed right here, because when you get to level sync, right here in this little box in the left side, there will be your current level. With a smaller number on the left side, there will be a smaller level, which is your synced down level. Depending on what you're doing or where you are located, this synced level will be different. In terms of user interface changes, the first one is a new button being added up here. So you might discover that this one has become a two rows menu for you, because it's now supposed to contain 13 icons, and this is one of the new menus, companions and contacts. I've explored and explained everything about it in a previous video already. In terms of user interface, the biggest change is the grid. The grid is brand new. You can allow things to snap to the grid. Let me first demonstrate without the snapping. You see, free movement. If you turn snap on, it will start. I don't know if it's noticeable. Maybe if I make the grid a little bit bigger, that would make it easier for snapping. Yeah, you see that it snaps now. A lot easier and a lot more comfortable for us to arrange things around the user interface. I was using a different tool called Clovis Grid, available for download from SWTORUI.com, website for Star Wars The Old Republic interfaces. That's where I've uploaded my own interface, and quite a lot of you have already downloaded it and hopefully enjoying it. So basically this is the grid change. You can make it smaller or bigger, and the good thing is you, for some reason, are allowed to change that in both directions, vertically and horizontally. You can change, you can decide to show it off or on, because sometimes, especially if you choose the smaller grid, if you want to be extremely precise, it might become a little bit difficult to spot these smaller elements from the user interface. Another innovation is that every one of these modules comes with a title in the top left corner. We have a player frame, we have a focus target, and so on and so on. And don't forget that all of these categories here display different things. You can of course have absolutely everything at the same time, but that's not really very pleasant. Another thing that I will not show you in this very video, but you can witness it in absolutely every one of my playthroughs and walkthroughs. It's a change related to the user interface for alignment affections for companions. During conversations, right here somewhere in the bottom left corner, I can actually display that probably. Conversation reactions right here, obviously, then in this window. Bower is very quickly and briefly going to tell you which companion is reacting how. It doesn't matter if the companion is right next to you, because I've witnessed so far different kinds of companion in a much greater distance, not next to me, reacting somehow to things I'm doing for some reason. I don't know if that's intended. I don't know if that's an exclusion from the rule. Usually, you know that up until now, up until the launch of 4.0, companions that weren't next to you, they weren't benefiting from your decisions. Well, maybe this has changed, we will see. What is the other change about the cinematic conversations is that there is a slider or rolling down effect for the circle with the 2 or 3 choices that you have to make when you have a decision in front of you during the dialogue cutscenes. I definitely don't like the design, and I think it's kind of a step back, and I would be curious to hear what is your opinion on that matter. The last thing I would want to mention about user interface changes and improvements is where the hell is the heroic moment. Obviously, heroic moment has been changed. It's 5 minutes now. If I remember correctly, it used to be 10 minutes. This is so-called temporary toolbar. It's uneditable. Well, it is editable, but you don't really have to edit it unless you really want to. Wow, it's actually it's editable, but you're not allowed to move these abilities outside from the bar and move them to the main bar. That's actually a cool feature. And this toolbar is every time different depending on when it's needed and what you're doing with it. During the heroic moment, all of these abilities are only usable during heroic moment, and in the past, if you wanted to benefit from them, which almost nobody did, because they were locked behind the requirement of having too many slots on your main toolbars taken. So pretty much Bower decided to slot them in this toolbar. For example, if you're doing HUD bow, because that's the other obvious demonstration and example I can give. I'm not going to enter HUD bow singly just for that purpose now, but that toolbar will automatically appear with the shortcut for throwing the ball whenever you have the ball. This means you don't have to waste the skill a toolbar slot anymore for having the ability HUD bow throwing, if you don't want to, of course. When you start Fallen Empire, there is another small change. It's not exactly user interface related, but maybe kind of. If you start chapter 1, BioWare is going to give you a chance, very useful probably for absolutely new players, because many of the new players will probably choose to start from level 60 and play the current content instead of going through the original stories of the game. But there will be another option right here. You can turn off and on a specific tutorial that during chapter 1 is going to kind of teach you very quickly and very briefly of the abilities and just a very quick leveling process of some sort. First, BioWare is going to give you a small selection of the most basic abilities. Slowly during chapter 1 they are going to improve the abilities, they are going to explain to you what ability does what, how they are useful, what their purpose is, and so on and so on. And by the end of chapter 1, or was it chapter 2, I'm not really sure because I didn't use the tutorial obviously, I'm not a new player. But by the end of chapter 1 or 2, anyway, you will have all of your abilities. You can turn that tutorial off at any point, and BioWare is going to immediately restore all of your abilities the way they were displayed. I almost forgot something very important. It's not exactly user interface related, but it kind of is. It's related to the keybinds. BioWare is finally allowing us to save, import and export our keybinds. So for example, if I want to import, first export the keybinds from Vulk, I will type them with a name. For some reason I started typing my website, I don't know why. We click the small button and this thing immediately appears. And right here you will see a huge selection of, because, well, BioWare wanted to waste some real estate on the screen. And I have decided to list all of these special keybind abilities. And then obviously you can relog to another character. I'm going to show you that in a moment. You can click this and load it on your other character, because that's a real good improvement. I definitely approve of that change, and I've been doing these stupid keybinds on God knows how many, 23, 4, 5 characters now. I know that some of you guys have a lot more, but doing the keybinds on more than 2 or 3 characters is already a pain in the ass, if you ask me, and I would be extremely glad that we're moving away from this. Obviously there has been a small change to the layout of the cartel market, but nothing too important. We have that thing here. For some reason the token doesn't appear for me under consumables like it's supposed to be. Maybe it's locked behind something. And now that we've mentioned the free level 60 token, before I relog to another character, I will quickly jump out of this one. Come on. And I will show you the user interface changes to the character selection screen. Obviously we have the very similar like before window here, but now it has even fewer, slower number of slots displayable. That's why I have 4 pages now with characters. It used to be 3 pages. I really don't understand why BioWare refused to start scaling things up. I know that their user interface is hand-drawn, so to speak. So it's really a lot of work to start resizing these, but it would be a hell of a lot easier if we could resize that thing to the bottom and to the top, and I, in my personal case, could house in 2 lists all of my characters. Obviously this is another change here, this thing stands out a little bit more, but the biggest thing, it's not just an UI improvement, it's personal achievement improvement. Legendary status is achieved by completing the full 8 class specific stories. Because I have completed them long ago, I'm being granted this automatically. It's not something you're supposed to do before the expansion. You can do it at any point, even starting now, and you will be granted this kind of a big personal achievement. Remember, if you purchase the straight to level 60 character, this doesn't mean this character in this class will qualify to grant you the legendary status, because it's not bound to the level of the character, it's bound to you completing the origin story. This means defeating the boss after Corellia for all of the main 8 classes available in the game. On day 1 for early access, I almost missed the fact that we also get one level 60 straight away for free because we are subscribers. If you become a subscriber, you will get that slot for free as well, and that's where it's located. You go to the character selection screen, and right now in small yellow number it says that I have one token available. If I want to expand that, I will obviously eventually have to go to the cartel market and buy it. I desperately wanted to see the price of that thing, but during at the time of recording the video, I don't know if it was a bug or maybe something else was blocking it, I just couldn't find where the hell the token is. It just wasn't available on the store in the game. It wasn't also listed anywhere on the website as well, because there are links leading you to the website for whatever reason, where, as a matter of fact, Revan expansion was advertised as something new and exciting instead of Fallen Empire. And quickly logging to another character because I want to show you the end of the import and export keybinds, as well as something very annoying, a new change to the disciplines. It's not the gameplay change. And I'm actually logging to Skorx, I believe. I've already begun the story with Skorx, so don't be afraid. He is in a brand new unknown place. I won't spoil any more for you. However, I wanted to show you this again because BioWare absolutely refuses to scale things up and down. Now we have a slider for our left side of the discipline tree. The other user interface change is on the right side, obviously, because every single advanced class gets one new utility point, now one new utility skill, not point. The maximum is still 7 points. But we have now 8 available utilities in each one of the tiers. This is it. This video was supposed to be short. Well, it wasn't short. Thank you very much for enjoying it together with me. Happy Fallen Empire, and don't forget to share your experience and your opinions about the expansion and everything else. Bye bye.